Hello, I'm Rocky. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my August wrap-up and possibly my September TBR as well. Okay, let's get started. The first book I read was Clockwork Angel, along with Magnus's Vow, which is a short story in the back. For the first book, I know people said that it gets better as the trilogy continues, so I'm gonna still read it, of course, because I have the other books. But this one was kind of slow to get into. It was still very interesting, though. I also read The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This was for the Booksplosion Pick of the Month, and I got this at the beginning of the year, I believe, and I found it at like a Goodwill or whatever. I really enjoyed this book. The writing was done wonderfully. It was so beautiful. I actually wish this circus was real so that I could go to it. But unfortunately, it's not. I'm sad. Wait. The next one I wrote was, the next book I read was For a Divergent Collection Stories by Veronica Roth. It has 4 short stories, but in 4's perspective, and then there's also some scenes in the back, I think 3 or 4, that were in, from his perspective, but like, it was from the Divergent book, like when he first meets Tris, when he first meets Tris, and, like when she first jumps, what he thinks, and kind of his thoughts on a few scenes that weren't in the original short stories. Next I read was the 3rd book, which is The Titan's Curse by Rick Riordan. Again, this is the 3rd book in the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. I want to continue on. This was really good. It's getting a lot more interesting now, but that's because I think since I watched the movies, now it's getting away from the movies, and I don't know what's going to happen, so I'm getting more pulled into the books. So yeah. Then I read Rise of the Griffin by Shirley Kenyon and Diana Love. This is book 4 of the Bellador series. Very, very good. It was slow in some parts, but I really enjoyed this book, I think, because Storm and Eval finally get together and move on in the relationship, and it's really exciting because it took a little bit, which I love it when books do that, when it takes the relationship a little bit to kindle, or they hate each other to begin with, because it just makes it that more kind of realistic kind of thing. It's not insta-love. But yeah, I'm really excited. The 5th book should be coming out either next month or the month after. I can't really remember, but I'm highly, highly anticipating reading the next book. The only sad part is Shirley Kenyon is no longer going to be on the book series. It's just going to be Diana Love. But I'm glad it's continuing, so. The next one I read was If I Stay by Gail Forman. I read this because the movie came out last month, so I wanted to read the book before watching the movie. I did buy the box set with both books. I just haven't gotten to the 2nd book yet. But this one was really good. I did tear up a couple times during both the movie and the book, because I have thought the same questions, like, what would happen, like, if that happened, and what would you choose? It makes you think a little bit. And, of course, I love classical music. I play the piano myself, so I love playing classical and jazz music on the piano, so I can kind of understand how she gets moved by music and whatnot. The next 2 books I read was Buddy during the month of August, Wake by Amanda Hawking, and Lullaby. These are siren / mermaid books, and there's 4 in the series. Wake was a little slow. I do not like the main character, Gemma. I do like her sister, though. What's her sister's name? I like her sister, though, who's Harper, and Harper's love interest as well. I don't know if it's because they're older or whatnot, or Gemma just annoys me. I don't know. But I prefer Harper, and in the first book, it's mostly about Gemma, so this book, of course, was not my favorite. But this one is more about Harper and Gemma. A little bit more about Harper, though, trying to find her. And so I liked this one a lot better. I do have this book signed by Amanda Hawking. I did get the next book because the buddy I read this with wanted to continue. But not for a little while. I also wanted the next book because on the front of the book, that cover I love. It's Harper's love interest, and he has a tattoo down his back, and I know I want to read that book a lot and see where it goes. Anyway, the next one I read was Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I also read in the back of this one a short story. It's called The Captain and the Prince. And it's just, the short story was about the captain and the prince talking about who they were going to get to play their little competition or whatnot. This one is the first book in the series, of course. I liked it. It was a little bit irritating at times because she seemed more girly girl than killer assassin, but she still kicked some butt when needed. I just wished it would have showed a little bit more fight there. But I did enjoy it. I did give it like a 4 out of 5 stars, and I'm planning continuing on the series this month. I also read for a Goodreads group, The Great Gatsby. I did not have this book. I did have the movie, though, since like last Christmas. And I refused to watch the movie until I read the book, so I finally got the book. It was a short little book, so I'm like, oh, I'll whiz through it. With classics, even though they're tiny books, sometimes you don't always read through them fast, because the language is more dense, and they're just not always quick reads. But in this case, it was a pretty good read. I only had problems with the writing style because I thought there was like some fluff to the writing that they didn't really need. Like there was a whole page on names who were at Gatsby's party, and you didn't really need to know who they were for the story. I enjoyed the movie a lot better. The movie interpretation of this was really done well. I think they left in a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, like some of the words, like word for word, was in the movie from the book, and I really enjoyed that. I think I just enjoyed the movie a little bit better because there wasn't the fluff to it. It was just the story. They did change some things a little bit, but of course you have to for the movie. But again, it was really good. I enjoyed it. Just again, the fluff kind of irritated me. I know a lot of people, this is their favorite book, and I'm sorry. It was still really enjoyable, and I understand that there were points like, it is a classic, it is a timeless, kind of book. You can always learn from it. But yeah. Another one I read was Steel Heart by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first book in his series. I don't know how many books it's gonna be, but I also love the cover. I got my boyfriend to read this with me because when I read it, I'm like, oh, this is definitely his kind of books. It's about epics, which are in turn like superheroes, except they're also bad, sort of, basically. But it was really good. This is the first Brandon Sanderson novel that I've read. I really enjoyed it, and I hope to read many, many more of his books. I cannot wait for the next book now. It's going to be spectacular. Another book I read was Silver Shadows by Raquel. I had to read this right away. It was just highly anticipated because she got taken, and I had to know what happened. I enjoyed this book a lot. I loved it that it went between Adrian and Sydney. It kind of kept the reader involved because sometimes it was a little bit boring between the two. But I think together it made pretty a good book, and at the end, of course, very, very good. Still can't wait to see the next one and see what happens and how everything unfolds. Only thing that irritated me, of course, is Adrian, because of his problem. I understand that Spirit makes him depressed and whatnot, and that he didn't have Sydney to help him because she was taken. He seemed useless and whatnot, but come on, you don't have to turn to drinking or drugs and whatnot. But come on. But yeah. It was really good though, otherwise. Other than me getting irritated with Adrian, but that's normal. I know a lot of people love Adrian. I mean, I like him as a character. For Sydney, they work together. I could never see it. I wouldn't deal with it. That's just me though. But yeah. And then the last book that I read was an ebook. It's called The Hidden Ones by Nancy Medore. I have a long written review on my blog. If you just go down to the down bar, you can click on my blog and find it in there. It's about basically Nephilim or Dijon, but it's like a little different spin on it. This book is told from 3 different perspectives. And it's a very interesting read. There's 2 other books, and I do plan to read them. I just don't know when. I don't think it's going to be this month. I might read the second book in October. But I gotta keep November clear for my writing schedule, but we'll see where I get to in that. But that's all for my August wrap-up video. I read quite a bit. I had read some short stories and whatnot. I'm excited to move on. Next will be my September TBR, just some of them, because I don't have all the books for my September TBR, but I'll name which ones I can name.